Hi there and welcome to Top 5 Wednesdays. I haven't done one of these before, but I've seen them all around YouTube and I wanted to join in, especially when I saw that the subject for today was favourite couples. Now, like a lot of us on BookTube, I have come up from the Harry Potter fandom and I spent a lot of my teenage years happily shipping and reading fic, and I'm very invested in some of the fictional couples that I read. So I thought I'd give you a little rundown of my favourites. Number 5, we have Darren and Alec in the Leviathan series by Scott Westerfeld. Now this is Leviathan, Behemoth and Goliath, and I absolutely loved those books. Darren dresses as a boy to go be a midshipman on an airship, and Alec is a prince who is on the run from people trying to kill him, and they forge a friendship whilst Alec thinks that Darren is in fact a boy called Dylan, and they have a really lovely friendship, and then they kind of figure it out and romantic shenanigans ensue. They're absolutely lovely, both as friends and as a couple, and I just wish there were more of these books and more of their further adventures in the same world, because they were lovely characters and I did not want to say goodbye to them. At number 4, we have Will and Lyra from Northern Lights by Phil Pullman, which was published as The Golden Compass in the US. I should probably be holding up book 2 or 3 because Will isn't even in book 1, but I remember reading this when I was a teenager and just crying buckets at the resolution of this, and it just touched me so much. I really want to reread those because I haven't read them for a very long time, and I have very fond memories of my reading experience rather than memories of the plot. So I think I might reread this probably around Christmas or next year. They have a really great relationship, both as friends and then later on when it takes on a romantic element. But I also loved that this book said romantic relationships and wanting to make out and actually do things with the person that you're in love with is a beautiful, beautiful thing and nothing to be kind of hidden away. And obviously that's a whole plot point in the book, but I just really liked how healthy that relationship between the two of them seemed to me. Now I'm kind of afraid of rereading it, because if I reread this book and it doesn't stand up to how beautiful and healthy I remembered that it was, I will be heartbroken, although I kind of trust Philip Pullman. So yeah, rereading list. It will go on it. In number 3, I have to bring up Harry Potter, and there are so many relationships that I could choose from in the Harry Potter books. It was a toss-up between this one and Mr. and Mrs. Weasley, but I'm going to have to go with Tonks and Lupin. I think they're a lovely couple and they balance each other out really well, and it's very nice to see them kind of trying to work through their issues to kind of get to their happy ending where they get married and they have a kid. Obviously not quite that much of a happy ending, but we can decide that some things did not happen if we want to. I think there's so much that can be read between the lines and in fact in fanfic about what would have happened between them throughout the story of the book, and I think Tonks is such an interesting character as well, having the ability to change herself. There's so much that you can imagine that she would have had to go through with dating other less good people than Remus, and then you can imagine what Remus could have gone through with being a werewolf. I just think there's so much there that's left to your imagination that you can build in your mind. Tonks and Remus are my favourite canon ship. My favourite non-canon ship is probably still Sirius and Remus. I have read so much fic, I just like Remus a lot. And at number 2 we have Captain Vimes and Lady Sybil from the Discworld by Terry Pratchett. The Discworld is absolutely amazing. The Guards books are absolutely amazing. Captain Vimes is probably my favourite character out of all the Discworld books. I love the relationship that he has with Lady Sybil because it's mostly about the relationship. They meet and they're attracted to each other and it's kind of there, but they're trying to solve some murders and that takes precedence. And then he pops the question and she says yes. And throughout the books you follow them through their wedding and Lady Sybil being pregnant and a little boy being born and Captain Vimes trying to be a good husband and a good dad, even though he also really wants to be a good copper. And it's just really about their everyday life and how they try to be good people together. You don't see that enough in books. They have a really beautiful and special relationship, even though it's a very mundane relationship at the same time. I think in the hands of any lesser of a writer than Terry Pratchett, it might not be the beautiful, wonderful thing that it is. At number 1, we have Jane and Vincent from The Glamorous Histories by Mary Robinette Kowal, starting with Shades of Milk and Honey. In this book they meet and fall in love, and at the end of the book he proposes to her and she says yes, and the sequels are the stories of their adventures as a married couple. I just love the fact that we get to see their relationship with its issues, but that at the end of the day they don't have to break up and get back together again for there to be some kind of entertainment. They have a very interesting relationship because Jane is a very strong woman who's a professional in her field. Because of Vincent's work as a glamorous to the Prince Regent, they get to do all this kind of really interesting, cool magic stuff together for a living. And there's a bunch of other complications like Napoleon spies in politics that will make it more interesting as we go along, but we're never in any doubt that they absolutely adore each other and that being together makes them better people. Their characters and their inner strengths don't change, but they do influence each other, and Vincent makes Jane a lot more confident, and Jane helps Vincent chill out a lot and recover from a lot of neglect and abuse in his past. This book is a straight Jane Austen pastiche, and it's worth reading for its own sake because it's a really fun book. But I've been enjoying every single book in the series more than the last when it comes out. The next book is Glamour in Glass. After that, it's Without a Summer. And the last one that's been out is Valor and Vanity. The 5th and final book in the series is called Of Noble Family, and it's coming out hopefully fairly soon. We've seen a cover already, which is beautiful. So hopefully I'll be able to get my little hands on it soon because I really want to know what happens to them. So those were my top 5 literary couples. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want to have a look at the Top 5 Wednesdays community on Goodreads, I will leave a link in the description below and you can go and check them out and see if maybe you want to do a video or blog post of your own for next week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching and see you soon.